Hello and welcome to my SevTech Minecraft tips and tricks video. Not going to be going over too much in the way of guiding or letting you know how to play the game, because that is all explained in the guidebook itself. So you just follow along the pathways in the guidebook here. The ones with the rounded things that turn purple after you complete them are the main quest, which helps you advance through the ages, and the ones that with the diamond shape around them are the ones that you need to complete to the next age. So you start in the tutorial age and you work your way to here, which in case you get to age 0. So technically you don't start in age -1, it's the tutorial age. And then once you complete the work stump, then you get to age 1, and then, or age 0, and then once you get to the melter, then you get to age 1 technically. So a couple of things that aren't explained in the guidebook is what I'm going to be going over, and that the first ones of those things is JEI. So when you open your inventory, you can see over here in this area here is where all of the items that you can craft are. Now when you start in the tutorial age, this starts at 2 pages, and then as you increase in ages, then the number of items that you can craft end up going up over here. So if you just click on an item, it can tell you all of the recipes that you can do to make them, and it tells you even which stage it's available in. Of course, you won't be able to see the stage until you're past that particular stage. So if I was only in the tutorial age, then I would be able to see these, but I wouldn't be able to see some of these other ones here necessarily because they don't open until later ages. If you're looking for something in there and you want to find out how to make it, you just hover over something and push R, which will show you the recipes. Right click will also do that. You can also hit U, which will show you the uses for said item. Now a couple of things that I wanted to go over that aren't in the guidebook I've listed over here, which is where we have pasted things. To paste something, you just hover over something and hit A. Hitting A will add it over here, and if you don't need it anymore, if you don't want it in your pasted items, you just hit A and that will remove it from your JEI bookmarks, I guess is what they're officially called. So the first thing are shears. Shears are really good because you need them at one point to make one of the items in the totemic mod anyways, but the best use for the shears is collecting your feathers for getting your the map, which is the Antique Atlas, which you need to find a cartographer in a village for. So the bone shears here, there's also flint shears that you can make as well. And if you just have shears in your hand, you can actually click on a chicken 5 times, I believe, and get 5 times the normal amount of feathers as you would for just killing it outright. And it's a lot faster than waiting for it to molt and drop you the feathers, which they do in this mod. When setting up your first base, I typically recommend setting it up a few chunks away from the village, and make sure that before you set up your base that you've actually found a cartographer in your village, and then you can set up your first base. It doesn't have to be your final base, but it can be your first base. Oh, there's a little doggy. I'm just going to avoid him. Now this is the way I set up my first base, is I make sure that the walls are too high from the outside, and I leave an entranceway there with a gutter in front. And then that way you just have to hop into your base. I'm jumping extra high because I've got the wild dog pelts, which I'll go over in a minute here. And then a step up just to get out of your base. And then this way, when you're working away inside your base at night, you don't have to worry about monsters coming into your base because there's this little thing here. Just note that the dogs actually can jump into your base over a 2 high wall. So if you think it's necessary to make it a 3 high wall, then that's your prerogative there. One of the things in this mod pack that you will encounter a lot are key conflicts. So usually if you have an item in your hand, in regular Minecraft you would hit F to transfer it to your offhand, like that. In this pack that won't work until you reset your key bindings. So in the options, under controls, you just click on the key here, search for F, and then that will show you all of the items, all of the things that are bound to F. And then there were a few extras that I rebound, and I just made sure that the only one swap item in hands was bound to F so that I can do that very quickly. Very handy for doing torches, or if you need to have blocks in your hand when working around lava, etc. So the next thing that I wanted to go over is my base layout. I usually set it up very small and short with a little bit more wall space than floor space. So in the guidebook it tells you to make the chest, immersive chest. So this thing is your first storage, and this will hold up to 12 items, and it sits on the ground. Now for the very similar cost, which doesn't tell you anywhere, is the shelf. It's just a slightly different configuration with the rock in a different place, and the shelves actually hold 16 items, so you get an extra 4 spots, and those go on the wall. So my base design gives me a little bit more wall space to store items so that I can use these more efficient storage things. One of the other neat things in here is you can actually place things right on the wall with the placer. Again, in your key bindings, you can find those under, and I've got mine set to comma. Oh, no, it's so place item in world is the one you want to set. I set mine to comma because it's just something that's out of the way and that I don't use. And you can actually put up to 4 items on a singular block, so it's not nearly as good as putting it up there, but it is good if before you get all the resources to craft your shelves, or if you just want to have something handy. So for instance, when you get into the later ages, it's nice to have the tool that you want right beside some of the machines that you use, and you can just put it on the wall and grab it whenever you need it. And it's also right there in easy sight that you can see it quite quickly. In the earlier game, I did put things like cactuses and Venus flytraps in my pits there, which will kill monsters. The downside to that is that those items, the cactuses, the Venus flytraps, will delete any drops from them. So eventually I took them out because I needed to have some of the monster drops, and then I actually put one back because they're actually kind of handy to have around for deleting things when you get too spammy, like when I clear out all of my grass. See, I've cleared out all that grass, which led to a lot of plant twine fibers and twines, which you just throw out there. Item deleted. The next item that I want to go over is the Work Stump Mark II. So on the regular work stump, you can just craft 1 item at a time, but if you go up to the Work Stump Mark II, you can craft up to full stacks at a time. So it's a little bit handier, especially if you're doing mass crafting, and it's got the super cute little bed there that you can actually put your crafting rock on. So I can't grab this for some reason. Oh, I know why. Usually you can pick those up, but yeah, you can put your rock to bed down there. It's a handy place to have it. And the regular work stump doesn't have the bed for the little rock, so there's a nice little comfy spot for him to sit there. And the last item that I wanted to go over in age 0, or once you get to age 0, is the Wild Dog Pelt Boots. These things are completely amazing. They protect you from all fall damage, so it doesn't matter how high up you are. When you land, you won't take any damage. And it also lets you jump 3 blocks high. Actually 4 blocks if I'm not mistaken. Let's just put this guy up here, right there, and I go from here up to there. See, I can jump up 4 blocks. So super amazing for getting, especially if you have something like this and you fall down in here in a hurry and you're trying to get back into your base, go up there. They are pretty pricey. You need bundles of feathers, which you need string surrounded by feather to make the bundles of feathers. And then you also need some version of slime, in which in the early ages, the only option will be the rice slime ball. And you just need to get some rice, surround it with the fluid bladder, which you craft during the normal age 0 things. And those will get you the rice slime balls to make this item. And then to get the wild dog pelts, you just need to kill some of those nasty wild dogs, which pretty much continually spawn, especially if you start in a plain-ish biome like the one I started in here. The secondary good thing about building up on a 2-block high thing is when the monsters do come by to pay you a visit while you're in your base, you have a perfectly safe place where you can just pick them off at ease if you're looking for the experience or the drops or what have you. The one exception, as I mentioned before, are the wild dogs, which will come up and grab you. So that is it for this video. I will follow up with some age 1, age 2, and age 3 tips, because that's as far as I've gotten so far, but then I would also be continuing that on to show you some of the tricks for those related ages. And obviously as the ages go on, they get more and more involved with more and more hidden things, goodies that aren't necessarily explained in the guidebook, and I'm happy to go over that with you guys. Have a good one. We'll see you on the next one.